And we are live. Hello and welcome, DCL fans, draft fans in general. Today we're going to go over some predictions and this fantasy system that me and Son of Wrath cooked up, like what, 2 nights ago?
Yep.
Yeah, so he's here with me. We can explain some of the rules, stuff, all that. And yeah, we already have some submissions from people in my Discord. They got, early access. If you're interested at all in fantasy, all that stuff, link down below to my Discord. That's where we're kind of hosting this out of. But of course, if you just want to watch the videos, you can follow along like that as well. I guess I should put the link to this in the description of the video as well. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Move this over to another tab. Edit. And and then I'll link the form as well. Copy, paste, boom. We're so back. All right. Anyways, so this is the whole idea, right? It's just a fun way to watch and spectate all that stuff. And I need to link the stream as well. There's so many things for me to do. Linking the stream in my Discord.
Remember, you're snoozing.
I know. Boom. Alright. What's the punishment for last place? You just get bullied relentlessly. It is what it is. So yeah, these are the submissions so far. But let's go over the rules a little bit. Just at the beginning of the video, of the stream. I guess we give a little bit of time for people to come in, but yeah, we'll go over the rules first. What's up, Soltech? Yo! Alright. So here's the thing, right? First place prize, I didn't really want to offer any, like, money stuff, but free tutoring session. I just recorded one last night, so that is making a return. That'll be out soon as that guy plays his game that we prepped for, which will be on the weekend. So look out for a new coaching video this weekend, or maybe Monday. We'll see. But yeah. Can I pick myself? Of course. Always bet on yourself. So the idea is,
unless you're a captain.
Yeah,
if you're a captain, you can't pick yourself.
So the reason why we have managers not selectable is because they're all just blanket 18k, and that is not indicative of everyone's price. Like, you have a pretty big difference in, like, Genius X for 18k, or, he's my boy, but Luxance for 18k. Not exactly the same, right? So anything that, like, counts the budget, DCL managers are not eligible for. So there's a few things to make this interesting, right? You have 1 submission per week, points are cumulative. So if you score like 30 points week 1, 20 points week 2, you're gonna have 50 points. That's all that really means. And we found that 70k of a roster budget is a pretty nice middle ground where you can get some quality players, but you can't just stack your roster with the best players in every tier. So you have 70k roster budget. What does this mean? If you look at the player prices tab on the dock, you have like the most expensive players around 20k, and then you have like your middle players around 10k, and then a few like budget guys down here. So you do need a little bit of a mix between all of them. Each one is worth 5 points. The only reason for this is because when it was worth 1 point, I felt depressed looking at like some test runs and be like, wow, I did pretty good this week. I got 4 points. Like, it doesn't feel good.
Off offer 5 points. Yeah. Oh my god.
But wait, I got 20 points. Oh my god, we're actually popping off. What's up, Grimmets? How we doing today? Guys, this is an interesting suggestion from my stream where we like kind of brainstorm this thing. So correctly predicting a 10k price upset, you get a multiplier for that. You get double points if that like lands. And we were looking at, there's not a whole lot of matchups that have a 10k price delta. But if you are able to single those out, and they do exist every week, they're gonna exist. If you predict the upset and you get it right, that's double points. So there's a little bit of strategy involved there. And of course this doesn't count against managers for the reason why we said earlier. 18k is not indicative of everyone's skill, so we don't want to just have people have the easy option of predding against like the weaker managers every week, and then it makes it a little bit less interesting that way. The other multiplier we have is each week you get one slot that you can like lock as like, this is the guy I'm super confident in, and if they do win, you get 2 points. So it doubles. But these multipliers do stack. So if you wanted to lock in on your upset pick, you can get up to 4 points, well, times 5, so 20 points from a single game. So there's a little bit of a fun way to do that. And this is like more so for later in the season. So this is like post-mids balancing, where some people, they're going to be drafted for cheap and they're going to do pretty well. This is just so that you don't always have the easy option of, hey, this guy's 4k and he's 4-0. I'm just going to pick him every week, you know? So it's not a huge difference, but the people who are doing really well, like top 10 on the standings, get a small price increase. Top 20 get an even smaller price increase. And these prices will, you're not going to have to keep track of these yourself. They'll automatically update on this page here, the player prices. But that's the idea. Right. So now we can look at some of the DCL games, right? So who are good picks here? Well, if you want to look at the player prices, you can look at some of the steals of the auction. AM22 has been in particular a really popular pick in a lot of the submissions so far, like Aura slot. Everyone's picking AM22 because he went for 5k, which is like way lower than he usually does. So he's a pretty value pick here. But yeah. Oh, what happened there? I saw a message from Dougal that got deleted or something.
No, Dougal.
I don't know, it vanished. Anyways, we can look at some of the matchups and see who are some of the better picks. Doxed myself by mistake, had to switch. Yeah. I did notice that, yeah. Alright. But anyways. First, let's look at Alliance versus Yoshi. And now, who are the potential, like, upset picks here? I think we had one that we were looking at. And that was...
Yeah.
What? Tidal versus II?
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, so if you pred Tidal and she wins, you get double points. But obviously, it's a bit of an upset trying to take on II, who is like a 19k guy. Where's the VGC analysis? I'm leaving that for the experts to do. That's your job, bro. I'll never do that. But anyways, let's look at this. So, there's a captain, so we can't really pred either of these guys. It's a captain versus captain. And we can't really pred for Gorex. We could pred for Dougal, but he's not going to get the upset modifier because Gorex is a captain. But yeah, so like Mouseco versus High Jump Sean and stuff. Like these are some interesting matchups. Paddocks versus Hydra is going to be a fun matchup. Mayo Lock free. So true, actually. Just put in your boy Logan. Too many AM22 voters. I mean, it's a good pick. What can you say? Let's see. I guess we just do some Preds now? I don't know. See, who's likely to win? And if we see a good matchup for someone who's like a potential upset pick, might need to tap into that. Right. So Kyle versus Luxance here. We can't really pred these in the fantasy, but let's look at it anyways. I mean, Garchomp looks pretty strong here, right? SD scale shot. You kind of need like a balloon Ticketon or something like that. Maybe a Terra Fairy Rhyperior, Terra Fairy Bolt as a check to that, which, to be fair, Terra Fairy looks pretty good into all of these guys, so I don't mind that too much. I like a Fairy Bolt here. It would make a lot of sense, like resist Urshifu, close combat, resist Garchomp scale shot, resist Darkrai hits in general, Dark Pulse. Now on the other side, this Gren is about to put in some crazy work, I think. Yeah, look at this, dude. Like, Surf Ice Beam covers everything. You don't even need any other moves. You could fit, like, Grass Knot coverage if you want to. Fairy Rhyperior wins, though. Yeah, I would probably expect double Fairy Terra, if I'm being honest. If they do bring the Rhyperior. What's the Urshifu gonna be here? You could be, Terra Fairy Poison Jab just to cover those Terra Fairies, but that's also maybe a little bit of an overreach. I would expect it to be maybe just, bulky Punching Glove with like Drain Punch, Surging Strikes. Maybe a coverage move for Latios, like Ice Punch. Could be that. What's up, Happy Gate? How we doing? The Corner Pawn off. Yeah, so Corner Pawn actually went undefeated in DPL Season 9, and immediately one of them is going to lose Week 1 because they can't both win, obviously.
I mean, are these the only two that got drafted?
No, there's more, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's been a pretty popular mon. Let me see if I can find one real quick. I mean, I could probably just Control F this. Yeah, there's one more that's brought Week 1. Yeah, right here on the Surfers team.
There were 2 drafted in VGC and then 4 in SV. So 6 total.
Yeah. Got a Corner Pawn sweep like 3 hours ago. Opponent showed Scarf Overheat E-Train and I SD'd through it, got all 6. That's kind of fire, no? There's like Ivy, Horn Leech, all that stuff. Yeah, it's a strong mon. Has to face into Tinkaton, but like low kick is good base power into that, and you have Stomping Tantrum as well. So that's probably fine. Ivy, Trailblaze, SD, Encore. Didn't show Encore. Yeah. I mean, oh, Trailblaze, yeah, that makes sense. Who's gonna win this one? If I had to pick one, I would probably say Kyle. Probably has an edge here. But also, would I? Because this Gren is kind of crazy. It kind of depends on if he can weaken stuff for his Garchomp sweep. If he can, it's a slam dunk. But maybe I do Pred Lux just a little bit. Anyways, let's go on to the matches that matter for the fantasy. H-Wish into the caps is annoying too. Yeah, I think Lux might have an edge here, just because that Healing Wish into Raging Bolt is going to be so hard to stop. Like, your only Raging Bolt check is Tinkaton, really. And that's going to be pressured quite a lot.
It's not checking it twice, too.
Yeah.
You're stopping maybe 1 bolt with that thing.
And if the Raging Bolt doesn't Terra, you don't really hit it back as Tinkaton very hard. Like, Play Rough, maybe?
Yeah.
Right, that's not doing a lot of damage. Alright, Sean versus Mouseco. Got a Zarude matchup, but it's into Tinkaton, so one of the better Zarude checks. I say that Zarude sets up on Tinkaton, kind of, but Encore does exist. So maybe you could see like a Taunt SD kind of thing. Taunt also covers like a Sporamungus. The thing about the Ogerpon Wellspring matchup for most Zarude teams is the Zarude is kind of forced to maintain that water resist on its Terra. So that's going to be a little bit tricky. Would you run Terra Dragon Zarude? Because I don't really want to stay Grass type against Cinderace and Amoonguss, right?
It's tough.
But
tough
then,
Terra for Zarude.
Then Dragon, like, you're outsped by Lottie and Dracode, so like maybe there's no good option here. And the thing is, like, if not Zarude, what's your Ogerpon check? You don't have one, so
Shadow Fortress.
So for that reason, I think Sean has like a pretty strong matchup here, right? Like Amoonguss for Sneasler as well. You can just run Rocky Helmet Amoonguss, hardwall that thing. Maybe like Acrobatics with the Psychic Seed could be interesting. I mean, low kicks looks hella good to me. The low kick, I mean, yes, but also Ogerpon is just so dominant in this game. I would feel like it's a waste to not just use it to its fullest. You submit it before looking at matchup. This looks dire for Zarude. It does look pretty dire. The Great Tusk, at least, is not the most scary thing in the world. Right, Deoxys is able to check it with a defensive set if you want. Zarude could be Terra Ghost and just stop Great Tusk in its tracks pretty simply. Rotom Wash is like decent aside from close combat. Lando is good except for Ice Spinner. Like, it's really prediction heavy. Lando first decent matchup. Yeah, it looks pretty good here for sure. Just I guess there's a Latios and you lost knockoff, so your best move is U-turn, and that sucks.
It's got Crunch at least. If
it does have Crunch, yeah, it still has Crunch. So maybe you run mixed with Crunch, Earth Power, because you definitely don't want to be full physical. It doesn't do no damage. Yeah, it'll still do a lot. Maybe like an Agility. It doesn't get Rock Polish.
It doesn't get speed boosting.
Yeah, it doesn't get any of that anymore. Like Earth Power, Psychic, Crunch maybe? Rock Slide? 4 attacks? I don't know. Maybe. Well, you know what would be Shiest? Endure, Salic, Nasty Plot.
Getting a quick attack by that ogre, buddy.
No, we are not. That is not happening. So I'm looking at this. The only, like, priority is, like, low kicks. But you can endure on first impression, and then Sucker Punch. Obviously, there's Mind Games. Ace? Ace also has Sucker Punch. Yeah, for the Deoxys, it could be likely. So maybe that's a little bit of a reach. New league I'm in, I'm drafting your core. All for you, Boo Thang. You're drafting the Tarap, Lando, Keldeo, because in this tour I'm also I'm back again once again with that. You see this? Yeah, round 2, buddy. Round 2. Runs it back. Not Ladue. A Gliscor. Oh, not Lando, what you meant. Weavile, Keldeo, and Big 2025 were so back. Yeah, shout out Keegan with the Oras vibes. But yeah, I think Sean definitely has matchup advantage here. So I would pred Sean if I were to pred anyone in fantasy here. So Dougal versus Gorex. This is a guy using a Meowscarada Keldeo versus Meowscarada Keldeo. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
The mirror matchup. Alright, whose Keldeo is better? Okay, Dougal's is just way better. What?
Yeah.
Oh my god. You click Surf and kill everything. The water resistance killed Meow itself.
It's gotta be Water Necro or something.
Gotta be, right? But then you're not carrying your own Keldeo. You never escape Meow. Yeah. Lead off and just double triple axle. Whoever wins the speed tie wins the game. Thoughts? We'll say Gorex's Meow looks way better. There's a Swalot, but yeah, on the other side there's a Fortress, Moltres. Yeah. So definitely the Meowscarada advantage goes to Gorex and the Keldeo advantage goes to Dougal. Which one of that is going to be more impactful? Maybe it just means we're forced to bring a Helmet Swalot, which, to be honest, this is a top 5 +1 team, so just make Swalot your +1. It's probably fine. And then also, low-key, you can run T-Spike Swalot, because this team really wants to bring Fortress and Moltres this week, and Fez is like a bit of a tough sell, I think. Maybe you could bring it, because it's like a Meow. Maybe AV can check Keldeo, but it's going to get hard-walled by Treads all game, I think. So maybe Fez goes on the bench, and then T-Spike's going to be pretty big. Regardless, I think if you bring Swalot, you bring T-Spikes, and if there's a Fez, you just don't click it. It's all good. Fez versus Iron Trade, literally. So I'm thinking definitely just Specs Terra Water Keldeo. Like, you could tell Gorex you're set, and he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Have you liked the stream yet? Great question, J. Ricky. Can we like the stream? Also, can we have some appreciation for Sin of Wrath, who is a little bit quiet in the call, but he's here, and he helped me with the fantasy doc and all the rule sets on it and stuff. Really helpful.
It was a late night doing the doc.
It was a little bit of a late night.
It was a super bright out by the time I got to sleep.
Yeah. Mentioned this, but it did 17 with Heatwave this week. Yeah, versus Iron Treads. Svedef Necro could come. Yeah, I think that's probably your best bet into Keldeo. Otherwise, you're just gonna fall over. Because not only are you like, at least 4 mons are O-code, right? But it's faster than everything too. It's like the double wombo combo, faster and kills everything. That's tough, man.
Dude, the one mon that's faster just gets destroyed
Yeah, by
a
vacuum
fucking
wave.
vac.
So you don't even need
my
any
God.
specs, honestly. You could be Calm Mind. Calm Mind alongside Necrozma. If it's Terra Water, you just run Secret Sword. Yeah, Calm Mind dual stab just wins, bro. It just fucking wins.
Oh my God.
Yo. I might be pretting Dougal this week. let me know.
I may or may not have already printed Dougal.
Ball knower. What the hell?
Yup.
Alright, so put a
I saw
pin in
the
that
Keldeo.
one.
I knew.
I haven't done my fantasy submission yet for this week, but I'll be keeping Dougal in mind for sure. You almost locked Dougal? Yeah, I mean, this looks pretty fucking good. Alright. Odin versus Agent Flame. Odin is a captain, so can't really pred for them, but Flame you could pred for if you wanted to, so let's take a look at the matchup. So, Tusk is a little bit tough here. Mandibuzz, Hydro Apple, and Rotom. Like, Tusk kind of sucks here, not gonna lie. And it's slower than Val Greninja. Yeah, Tusk, absolute poverty matchup, unfortunately. Keep in mind, I'm 0-50 versus Meow. But now you're using it yourself, so maybe you'll go 50-0.
Yeah, but now you have a Keldeo Dougal. So
Yeah, now you have literally God Core Meow Keldeo. Gold looks unbeatable. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Gold looks really good, man. What would you do here? Terra Fairy?
oh my God.
Terra Fairy Gold? You wall Hydrapple, Mandibuzz. I guess that opens you up to Clodsire a little bit with like Poison Jab. Would it run Poison Jab here? For the Enam, yeah, it might. Can we not pick Caps for fantasy? Sorry. Oh, this cough's so annoying. But no, you cannot pick Caps. And the reason for that is because 18k is not indicative of all of their skills. So, for example, like 18k Genius X and 18k Luxans are a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? So, we decided to just leave it to the drafted players as the eligible picks for fantasy. But anyways, yeah, Goldango looks really, really strong. What else here? I mean, AV Aloe just kind of blanket checks all of the offense here, right? And then Hydrapple can't really break like a bulky Terra Goldango. So like between Aloe and Gold, it looks really hard to break that 2-mon core. And not only that, you're getting a lot of flip turns into your own offense. And Cinderace looks really good here.
Yeah, this one looks very scary. Fire resist is Gren. Yikes.
Yeah, maybe the Hydrapple will end up being Terra Water as like a nice neutral defensive Terra into stuff like the Cinder, the Great Tusk, the Weavile, and also you resist Make It Rain from Goldango. That does seem like a pretty reasonable pick. So Terra Water Hydrapple, definitely gonna predict that to come. At the very least, it's very possible, you know? Water into No Electric and Go-Goat is good. Yeah, literally. Yeah. Yeah, so Hydrapple looks pretty good defensively, but still kind of gets owned by like a nasty plot Goldango or something like that. But yeah. So this might be a battle of Hydrapple versus Goldango who can get more value. Because the rest of the offense on either side, like its Cinderace is pretty good, but Val, Greninja, these are not fantastic mons in the matchup. So, yeah, I think even though Great Tusk is like super poverty, I think Flame has the matchup here. Not by a huge margin, but I would expect her to win. You predict Flame in my fantasy, so hopefully she wins. I mean, all she's been doing recently is win-win-win no matter what. So, you would expect that to continue, especially in a somewhat favored matchup. I don't know. There is still some like interesting stuff with like Greninja, Jirachi, Valiant, where, you know, Odin could throw some curveballs. And this team is kind of on the slower side, outside of Cinderace, Weavile, of course, but everything else is like well and truly below 100 base speed. So you could potentially greed something like a Modest or Adamant Valiant. Like Adamant CC, it was gonna like do a lot to Alomomola if it's Life Orb. If it's like AV, like I expect. Maybe a Swords Dance Greninja could be able to break through. Can't believe I gotta do math for this. I'm sorry, man. We couldn't find an easy way to automate like the budget within the Google Docs. Or within the form.
I'll pull out that calculator.
Yeah, unlucky. Can we count to 70? This is a big question.
Very high number to count to.
I get it though. I really get it. Yeah, I'm probably gonna pred Ancient Flame, but the matchup isn't strong enough for me to put Ancient Flame on my fantasy roster, I don't think. Because she's kind of on the expensive side. I would probably want to find a matchup where it's a good player and a good matchup. Probably just make a team building doc pretty easy. Yeah, you probably could. Actually, yeah, that's a smart idea. We could make a doc, like a copy of the doc with the database, and just like 8 slots that you can fill in. Like you can make a copy of the doc.
Yeah.
That'll be on the to-do list. Great idea, actually, Clies. Appreciate that.
Could also just add it to the doc, lock the other sheets, and then they could just edit it in the doc. Sort of like the Emerald Open matchup thing.
Yeah, that's smart. We'll do that for sure. Not today, but maybe tomorrow. But yeah, alright, let's look at Hydra versus Paddocks. You know, you've been playing draft when you type in calc and brings up the damage calc. Yo, not gonna lie, I have the damage calc bookmarked on my page.
Dude, I have everything bookmarked.
Yeah.
I type in P and it autofills Showdown.
Yeah, dude. My my bookmarks on my Chrome is Showdown, the calc,
it's
YouTube,
all the DPL docs.
all of the DPL docs, DCL3, my Gmail stuff, and then like the background music for my streams. And then I have Chinese proverbs on here. Super funny, dude. Depending on blowing my budget on Flame or but Flame was goated in DPL, I picked her. Yeah, it makes sense.
I think I also picked Flame.
Oh, time zone converter, yeah. For sure a useful thing. I can just kind of do the math in my head because I've scheduled Pokemon games for like many years now. But yeah. Alright, Hydra versus Paddocks. Let's take a look at this. And this is like one of my favorite teams. This is like an iteration of one of my favorite Switch teams, which was this same top 3 with Volcarona and Cobalion on there. And that team was super cool from Phantom Thieves last DCL. I really enjoyed watching that. So this is like kind of a similar vibe with like a different breaker, different setup threats, all that stuff. This one has a Silvally, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, and then Paddocks on the other side, coming off of a really fantastic DPL performance.
Is
Gorilla looks goated? Yeah.
Multi-attack buff in Swish?
Yes, it's 120 base power.
It's not the Poverty 90 anymore.
Yeah. So Silvally is a Terra Pokemon in Swish. So what Terra would your Silvally be here? Hydra may or may not have had a 115 turn mock today. Oh my god.
How? What?
That's kind of impressive because there's not a whole lot of recovery on these teams. If you look at it.
Your recovery is like leftovers protect. What?
Alright, recover Latios. They just looking at each other.
Leech Seed, Rillaboom.
Alright, that's kind of crazy though. Anyways, what's the matchup looking like? Whose Latios is better? We can start with that. They both look pretty good, honestly. Like the Heatran gets Earthquaked.
Yeah, EQ for Heatran. Your Psychic for GUEs.
Yeah.
Everything else just taking neutral too.
Yeah, then on the other side, there's like Aegislash, which can get Shadow Balled. Then Scrafty, which takes a lot from Draco, but it can take it. Maybe like the AV set, but AV also doesn't seem very strong in general here.
Could be a Silvally type to help with Latios too.
Yeah, it could be like Fairy Silvally. but it doesn't really have ground coverage, so that gets walled by Heatran pretty comfortably, right? At least I'm pretty sure it doesn't have ground coverage.
It might have like bulldoze or something, but
oh yeah, something stupid maybe, but definitely not a good move. Was the SV3 slot like exclusively Dougal Gorax, or was like agent eligible there? That's because I see some slot 2 flame. No, the slotting doesn't matter. It's just you pick 4 SV players. They don't need to be like in the column, right? So like if you wanted to, you could pred everyone in the first slot. It doesn't matter, if that makes sense. I did low-key do the column, might resubmit.
It doesn't have any ground coverage.
Yeah, okay. So we're just doing the submission on hard mode, Clies.
Its coverage for Heatran would be reversal if it's fairy, so.
That does not sound very good.
No, it doesn't. It actually struggles to even hit Heatran neutrally.
Yeah.
It has to be like Rock Slide. Or Shadow Claw.
So basically multi-attack needs to hit Heatran at least. I could use a Zera check. Actually no, you have Lantern plus Lando, you're fine. Is Lando good here? Like EQ U-turn kind of just does good chip. The Wheezing is there, but maybe you pack Psychic?
Psychic.
So yeah. Psychic rocks EQ U-turn, I could definitely see as a set. I kind of like that here. You're not really hitting Araquanid, but that's probably fine. Maybe you could go Assault Vest Lando with Stone Edge last, Psychic, Earthquake U-turn, and then you put rocks on Lycanroc Dusk. Is that, like, worth? It might be, because then you have another Latios check. You have a Heatran switch in. I mean, you're not really hurting for Heatran switch-ins, to be honest, Lantern, Latios. Maybe a lot of use case for Lantern in this matchup, but then get taken advantage by Rillaboom. Hard to say.
Yeah, it could be defensive for the Rilla swap end. That does look kind of dire.
Yeah, SD Knock Glide just kind of 6-0s this team, no?
Yeah.
So what's like a Silvally type that's good into Rillaboom and also can at least hit Heatran for neutral damage? Not fire, not flying.
I don't think there is one that resists grass
steel.
and will hit Heatran neutrally.
A bit rough, no? Yeah, I think I might have to pred Patox here in this game. I don't know, because like Rillaboom's like literally god matchup, but also Zera is pretty useless. Latios is okay. Crook is pretty good actually. No, I think I would pred Patox here. Patox was really cheap in fantasy, which was nice to get him for like 5.5 after blowing so much of my budget on Sage and Flame. Yeah, for sure. He's like one of the lower cost, like high skill players. Dragon Silvally Trust. Maybe you kind of like beat Zera. Rillaboom. Don't really beat Heatran 1v1, but at least you resist fire. Resist water from Araquanid? Maybe, yeah. Maybe Dragon Silvally. But also you could just like bench Silvally, go top 6 maybe? But then you're like really weak to Rillaboom, so maybe not. I don't know. It feels like Hydra can't fit everything. So I'm going to pred Patox here.
Yeah. Seems strong for Patox.
Yeah. Now we have II versus Tidal. This is potentially a upset game, if you wanted to go for the upset. Odin is a bum. Thank you, hacker. we just bullying out here, or what? Alright, so II versus Tidal. Let's take a look at this matchup. There's like a Zera which looks pretty strong outside of Vileplume. You could run something like Rising Voltage. Actually, is that in Usum? Probably not, right? That's a Swish tech. But regardless, you're getting the Electric Terrain boost on your Plasma Fist, maybe. Don't fuck with this I team, I'm not gonna lie. Tidal got this. Okay, first off, what is the Coco switch-in? It's gonna be Steelix, so that's fine. That's also a Coco switch-in that's not weak to Mega Mawile. It is weak to Keldeo though, but you have a Tentacruel, so maybe defensively you're doing alright here. Special Mew sets have to worry about Hoopa, so maybe like Psychic Bug Buzz? Honestly, Psychic Bug Buzz literally wins, no?
Yeah.
Okay, we've solved the matchup. Mew's gonna completely smoke. Because the only thing that will Psychic Bug Buzz is Steelix, and that is gonna be dealing with Coco Nature's Madnesses. It's probably gonna be Ayapapa or Citrus on the Steelix, because that's generally what you run into Coco. Take those Nature Madness, and then recover back up. Even like a Guardian of Alola. But probably the Z on Mew is gonna make more sense here.
Yeah, Mew could also just be a Z to hit Steelix. Blow it up.
Yeah, you could be like Agility Mew with Mewinium Z, because that's still doing a lot to Steelix. And I don't think you really need to set up necessarily. Maybe you do though. Maybe you go Double Dance, Nasty Plot, Agility, Psychic Bug Buzz, or you just go one setup move and then just slot Fire Blaster, like Earth Power, something like that.
It could just be like Agility, Psychic Bug Buzz, Fire with Fire Z.
I think you still run Psychium Z, to be honest. Just for that one-time nuke against a lot of these, like Zeraora, Mega Kang type thing. I don't think you need Z on Bug Buzz to kill Hoopa. Uxie's living a Savage Spin out anyways. Yeah, Mew looks really nice here. Let's look at Mawile. Mawile also is going to be something pressuring the Steelix. Might see like Helmet Uxie, trying to chip that down. Helmet Tentacruel. These are options. I think the Vileplume does seem to be a little bit forced here. You have the threat of T-Spikes, which your Mew would absolutely hate. And then also there's an Infernape, or not Infernape, a Zeraora on the other side to deal with. So Vileplume looks like it's probably going to come. Also you have stuff like Rocky Helmet, Effect Spore to try to 1v1 Kangaskhan. So yeah, Vileplume looks like a really nice bring here. Yeah, Emolga Tort do nothing here anyways, for sure. One thing I'm wondering is, can this Keldeo be like Sub Calm Mind? Sub on Tentacruel at +1? It would have to be like Special Attack Invested Giga Drain, I think. Or like something like that.
Could be Fizz Poison Jab.
It could be Poison Jab, but also that would be kind of dicks, no? It has like 80 attack or something. I mean, it has low special attack as well, so. Mew doesn't get Bug Buzz in Gen 7? Oh, nah. Put the fries in the bag. Signal Beam? Yeah, that's not very strong. Still, though, the coverage makes sense. P-Jab ain't breaking subs burnt. Hell yeah, dude. Okay, let's look at stuff like Infernape, though, because Infernape looks like the biggest threat to Tidal's team. Right? Something like CC is really hard to switch into. You go for like a Z Overheat, maybe? That could be pretty powerful. Maybe Nasty Plot with a Vacuum Wave. Put Hydreigon in range, like Scarf Hydreigon. Keldeo, like once it gets low, Vacuum Wave can pick it off. I don't know though. Yeah, maybe Infernape like Life Orb Breaker, Z Zeraora to break through Vileplume. That could be pretty reasonable, to be honest. I feel like Tidal is probably still advantaged because Mew looks fantastic. And Keldeo looks decent as well. I don't know. maybe I is favored, because that Infernape looks impossible to deal with if you're able to just U-turn it to it with Uxie a few times. I don't know. I don't feel super confident Predding either way on this one. So maybe you take the punt on title for the potential double fantasy points. That could be a play, because it does seem pretty 50-50. Could be useful. The normals this is just Maw, so Mega King could go crazy. Yes and no, because Vileplume is right there with the double helmet, double effect spore. Like, King is not going to have a good time against that. King is also slower than Keldeo, and Secret Sword is going to obliterate it, so... Yeah, alright. Jimmy G versus Rob Jr. Let's see. There's a Mega Guard, but there's a Jirachi. So, like, that's about as good as you can ask for a guard check. Can get Pursuit Trap, though, so there's something to worry about there. Maybe you go Scarf Jirachi, because Iron Head is, like, somewhat free. You have to bring Electabuzz to really punish it, I think. And then you're like, you can switch it on guard, outspeed it, outspeed Weavile. Delicious. What do you think about this one?
I like Jimmy G's, because guard, you said Jirachi's gonna check guard a lot. Lando looks good if it can get past the Torn, but AV Torn, being bulky enough to look like Rock Slide, is going to be decently hard to get through. Blastoise looks... I don't know how well Blastoise gets through Tentacruel. Not sure on like the
it kind of
Dark
just doesn't.
Pulse or Dragon Pulse. It doesn't? Okay. I didn't know if it had anything to get through it.
It gets Earthquake,
seems
actually.
Kind of 50.
It does get Earthquake.
Oh. That could be. Blast looks good if it can get through Tentacruel. Get in on like Klefki and on Weave.
Yeah, it's like one of the best Weavile switch-ins in the whole tier, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Physical Megastoise looks solid here. Yeah, for sure. Just rock Earthquake. You could be mixed if you want to. Take my advice, Jimmy. So true. Yo, if Blastoise got SD, he would just win here, no? Thoughts? Okay, Big Breaker Kyurem Black is going to lose to the opposing Big Breaker Mega Gardevoir. So that's not fantastic. It's also slower than Lando. Could die to Focus Blast if you wanted to run that. So maybe you run like a Scarf Kyurem Black. Does seem pretty slow otherwise, but also Scarf Kyurem Black has a hard time locking into a move here with like Klefki just like vibing there. Are you cat sitting from
yeah, you'd have to EP the
friend's cat. It's my roommate's partner's cat. So yeah. Who would I pred here? I think we kind of have to get things moving, to be honest, because I gotta leave in like an hour and we're still on the first series. I would probably pred I want to pred Jimmy here.
Yeah, that's what I'd take.
Yeah, Raikou looks really solid. Jirachi is like the best guard answer ever. Torn is like pretty decent. Mega Guard, yeah. Guard's good, but Jirachi.
Not into a Jirachi.
Does the thing. Yeah, if you can get like a Wisp on the Jirachi, then all of a sudden it looks really nice for Rob. So maybe Rob is actually favored, but for now I'm going to say Jimmy. And then Repeat versus Trace, this is VGC. So, I don't know.
Flip a coin.
I don't freaking know, dude. We're going to skip over it. Shut up. All right. Next series we have Wishes versus Judgment. All right. Ooh, Who versus Agency is going to be a fun matchup because these are two players that had a really good DPL. Just noticed Jadescurve self-bought to bench himself. That's kind of raw, no? Pretty sure he's away. He might be busy this week. Yeah, that's fair enough. He just wanted the option. I get it. Alright. So Who using his signature stall. But on the other side, Meowscarada. I mean, there's a Corviknight, right? Iron Treads, there's a Corviknight and an Aloe. Keldeo. Okay, Keldeo can actually beat fat teams. This is true. There's a Claude and a Whimsicott. Maybe Spadef Pecharunt. But Keldeo can kind of 1v1 all of those with the right Terra typing and the right moveset. So I know versus Clodsire in BBR, I brought like a physically defensive Keldeo that, you know, its sub doesn't get broken by Gunk Shot. So you can sub Calm Mind. Just say you hate me. I hate you, bro. I hate you so much. So Keldeo's scary. Could be a few sets. Sub Calm Mind also 1v1's Aloe quite comfortably. You don't get revenge by Darkrai. Can set up on Pecharunt, like you can sub on this guy for sure. And then you defensively check Chi-Yu. So the only problem for Calm Mind sub Keldeo would be Whimsicott, which means Whimsicott has to come and it has to be Encore. So you could take advantage of that fact at least. And Whimsicott doesn't have recovery, so maybe early game you just attack, right? Get the Whimsicott low, and then later you go for that sub Calm Mind stuff.
Could also be Terra Dark Keldeo.
Terra Dark Keldeo?
Revenge as easily if sub gets broken.
That could be true,
thing
yeah.
That Patch hard, immune to Encore.
Yeah, you wall the double dark special threats. Patch can't like Shadow Ball Hex. It can Malignant, but that's like 8 PP, so maybe you can just Calm Mind through that. PP stall that.
After one Calm Mind, it won't break sub 2.
I mean, the cot just gets wish passed. No, I actually like
anything.
Terra Dark Keldeo here. Sub Calm Mind, very defensive. Just like Surf, Secret Sword, right? Because then if it's unaware, then you Surf it, and if it is Water Absorb, you use Secret Sword on its weaker defense side. Or maybe you just run Terra Blast Dark. And no, that's definitely worse, right? That's definitely worse. Surely you run Secret Sword.
When it's a tough one to slot over. Can't slot over Surf.
Yeah. So Keldeo, as usual, has a god matchup. Love to see it.
Shadow Keldeo.
Alright, Mesprit is interesting. Probably gonna be able to keep rocks up because the Defogger and the Spinner both, like, you can threaten them with like Bolt Beam coverage. Maybe not the easiest thing in the world, but rocks up could be a thing. Actually, maybe not. Maybe Who's gonna find a way to defog eventually. Maybe he's fine. Either way, Gouging Fire. This is a big one, right? Because it's a physical attacker that just sets up on Aloe. So you need to find another way to check it. So it's gonna be Petch, right?
Would have to be Petch, yeah.
So maybe you could see like a banded Gouging Fire, but then Aloe could come in afterwards. Wait, you know what's kind of raw? Sunny Day Gouging Fire. Then, not only do you get the Sun Boost, you also get an attack booster. So it sets up even faster than DD. And then you get a Sun Boosted, like, Heat Crash versus Pecharunt. That does big damage, right?
I'd hope so.
And with that doesn't even use up your item slot, so you could run Lum. Ooh.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that a lot. So DD, Sunny Day, Heat Crash. Do you need a coverage move? Not really, to be honest. You only need to hit like Cyclozar. Chi-Yu's gonna die to Heat Crash in the sun anyways. Aloe, you just set up onto +6, literally. Yo. Can you stop telling them how to prep? Hey, there's a reason why King O5 viewers have a positive win rate in DPL, right? I don't know if that's true. I just made that up, but it sounds right.
Sure, it's gotta be true.
It's gotta be, right? Okay, but like the people who watched all the Pred streams was DUI. They were in every stream. So and they won the tour. So I'm just saying. Move
Might
on
be
already, little
related.
bro. Yep. So anyways, I'm Predding Agency Zone. He's got Aura and he's got good sets available. Alright. Yurdunk versus Avocado 24. Predding Yurdunk. He has a Hydrapple. Like, let's be so for real.
Yup.
He's got the signature Mon. And Hydrapple looks hella good here. Like, what are these Terramons? They're all at the bottom. Okay, Urshifu Rapid. That's pretty scary, but Hydrapple is the check to that thing. Mandibuzz can, like, kind of check it a little bit. Not too much. But, Mousehold is just the GOAT, right? Forces helmets on the other side, at least. Iron Valiant can check Urshifu pretty well. The Fairy Resist doesn't resist fighting. And then Glamora obviously doesn't resist fighting either. So CC is just like god into this game. You can see like a banded Valiant maybe. You just click CC a lot. If they bring Dusknoir, you say thank you for benching something good for a Dusknoir. Main thing with Urshifu is it's easy to not let sweep here. I'm pretty sure every stream we watched, we would then go to DUI general chat and talk about how these guys just be saying BS. Yeah, but you won though, and you watched the stream. So it counts towards my statistics, okay? It counts. Also, Zooch is the one saying BS, not me. Trust. Oh yeah, Zooch predicted Agents Mew. That was raw, for sure. And there's a lot of Dino Crisis sets where Dougal's like, hey, why'd you just leak our exact paste? In my DMs, he's like, stop doing that. This is the team that in draft analysis that just had ass fighting resist and they rolled an Iron Valiant. Nice. Yeah, literally. We're doing that right now in VC. Hell yeah. Alright. The thing is, I don't really know who Avocado 24 is. If someone knows, like, an alias that I would know, then let me know. But I'm pretty sure Yurdunk is just gonna win.
I know they were in Emerald Open. That's about it. I saw them in there. Yeah,
so Valiant looks good, Hydrapple looks good. Deoxys, I mean, maybe forces Troupple Darkrai. I mean, Troupple Darkrai into Valiant Deoxys just feels correct, right?
Yeah.
That's the GOAT. That was the Zooch PZ. Yeah. That was also some, like, Castelia stuff, right? I swear there was multiple things. Anyways, predicting Yurdunk here. Sablo versus Lax. Here's a question: Is Sablo gonna be eligible for the jackpot thing? Is it a 10k price gap?
Yeah. Sablo.
Where's Sablo? I know Lax is 18k.
Sablo's 6.5. So yeah.
Yeah. So this is eligible for the double points if Sablo is able to win this one. So let's take a look at this matchup. You could not predict cast sets if you tried. Okay, buddy.
Trap and Moon Mirror.
Yeah.
Terra Fire Mirrors.
Offensive fires. Alright, so Sinistra is able to check the Terrapagos Wogerpon a little bit. Terrapagos less so, because like it just runs Ice Beam in this matchup, and you lose. Yeah, literally Starstorm Ice Beam. Because you want to hit the Gliscor.
Lead Meteor Beam Terrapagos. Can break early.
Yo. That could
probably
be
take
raw.
At least one Mon.
You can copy my homework. Hell yeah, dude. Iron Crown and Metagross. Yeah, it's literally the same team. Manaphy, Raw Ogerpon. Not gonna lie, Raw Ogerpon is way better, but yeah. Okay, actually Manaphy looks not that bad, to be honest. Like, usually it looks pretty bad, but here, you're only really worried about Ogerpon, which, to be fair, completely owns you, but the rest of the team it's pretty good into, you know?
Hey, Tail Glow, Endure, Satellite Manaphy.
Oh my god, that's actually my favorite Manaphy
Hey.
set ever.
Yeah, I like that or just screens, bulky Manaphy
Just set up screens and profit.
with an H-Wish.
Does it get H-Wish? I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
Or I meant like into the Manaphy. Oops.
Where's
Like
the
a bulky
H-Wish?
Tail Glow Manaphy with screens.
Where is it? I don't see a H-Wish here.
I was looking at the Enum on the other team. Oops.
Oopsies.
My bad.
Yeah, if we could just borrow like teammates' Pokemon, that would be kind of raw. Lax says Healing Wish. Yep, Vulpix has entered the building. So, Roaring Moon into Chi-Yu is like pretty nice. You're probably gonna see Fairy on that Chi-Yu for that reason. Fairy or Fighting. Maybe Fighting is interesting for the Terra Blast coverage into Terrapagos if it kills Roaring Moon, which I don't think it does. I think you need Fairy. So yeah, probably just Fairy. Could be see Scarf, could see Boots. These are good options for Chi-Yu. I don't think you need Specs. I think it's strong enough on its own where you don't need to greed the Specs. You'd rather be Boots if you were not Scarf. I think so anyways. Dark Pulse is pretty spammable. Like, it's just Roaring Moon. So yeah, Chi-Yu looks really strong here. And the way to get it in is what? Ogerpon U-turn on Sinistcha. Instant Dark Pulse option. That's kind of raw, actually. Yeah. So Ogerpon looks like it's definitely coming. Chi-Yu's definitely coming. Is Clodsire coming? Claude could come as like a always checks Terrapagos kind of guy, because the Terrapagos could be... I don't know, you have a Rotom for that, so it's not the end of the world either way. Maybe you bench Claude? Honestly, it looks like both these Roaring Moons might just be bulky sets, to be honest. Maybe not, though. And I think Lax is going to win this. Like, the Ogerpon Chi-Yu just look too nice together. So I'm going to Pred Lax. Maybe a hot take, but I don't think so. What's up, Central? How we doing? Alright, ID Cup versus Lucas Numbers. I think these are both on the lower end of price for these players. And there's a Meowscarada on one side. But on the other side, there's a Zapdos to kind of check it. A Hisuian Quillfish. So maybe not the greatest Meowscarada matchup of all time. Oh, this is the double Elephant Core, dude. This is the Dumbo comp.
Oh my god.
So, alright. Two great ground types. What does that mean here? I mean, this team is pretty weak to ground, actually. Enam is the only resist, and that gets heavy slammed by both of them, low-key.
Yeah.
So, honestly, it doesn't seem that bad for the double elephants. The crown just runs Terra
speed
Electric.
Bulk up, Terra Steel Tusk.
Nice, dude. Terra just make us even weaker to the ground types. Yep. So epic. IDEF policy though, that's interesting. You'd have to be agility as well. It's like what, you agility on the switch to something and then you IDEF weakness policy? Then you probably just win, yeah, if you get all that sequence off correctly. Whenever Arachnid comes as a second ground resist just to force coverage. Maybe. The thing with Arachnid is you can run sets that are like Water Absorb to stop Aloe flip turn, and then you can trap it with Spiderweb, and then Aloe is just dead, right? Or
all that work to kill an Aloe.
Or you could be offensive Water Bubble, and you're just walled by Aloe, but you're good into everything else, you know? So there's a little bit like, do you want to beat the Aloe and be useless otherwise? Or do you want to not beat the Aloe but kill everything else? So it's a little bit of a dilemma there for the Arachnid. If you do lure the Alomola, does that get you anything? Not really, to be honest. Aloe is annoying maybe, But it's not the only check to something where if you eliminate it, all of a sudden your offense is opened up. That's just not the case here, I don't think. So yeah, Araquanid just seems like maybe a bit too greedy of a pick, where the Aloe is always just gonna stop it. And if you like tailor your set to always 1v1 Aloe, you're useless versus everything else, so who cares? Aloe did his job. Is it crazy for me to pred the double elephant team to win? Is that crazy? Because like, low key, this team is weak enough to ground where it just might work. That'll be interesting. I want to watch this game live for sure. But yeah, I'll pred Lucas, bro. I don't care. That's cool. All right, and now we have like the heavy hitter matchups, right? Because both these teams, they have really strong old gens. So Nick versus Addison. This is a matchup you're pretty interested in, right? Because both of these guys, very strong players. Nick, known for his offense. Addison, also known for her offense. So it's going to be a fun clash in styles. And we see the Sand team with Dracozolt. Okay, we out here innovating. Versus Nick has a more conventional looking team. We do have a Blastoise for the Shell Smash threat. Shell Smash Blastoise. No fantasy, boo. Yeah, but it's an interesting matchup to look at anyways, right? So Blastoise can Shell Smash without fearing Mirror Herb in this gen, which is great. But there is a Rotom Wash, so that's a little bit annoying. Eldegoss as well, able to stop that thing. Also, Sand is just faster. So maybe Smash Stoise is a little bit tough, but still might be worth bringing with like a physical set. Maybe normal gem, like Double Edge. That could be something to lure Eldegoss and Rotom Wash. Just weaken it a little bit, it'll be in range. Maybe Silk Scarf, maybe something else. Who's to say? Yeah, Blastoise could be a good win condition. What else here? Celesteela.
What stops this Dracozolt?
What stops the Dracozolt? Great question, to be honest. Bolt Peak and Dragon Move kind of covers everything now.
Yeah.
Now, does it have to bring
It's
Dragon
gotta be like
Rush?
a snow warning, a bomb of snow.
Yeah, Obama would stop the sand.
Wait. Snow doesn't give the defense boost till SV, doesn't it?
No, it's Hail in older gens.
Oh, yeah.
Which, to be fair, is fine here.
Yeah.
Comfy with Draining Kiss? Can Calm Mind Comfy win this game? Like, Extra Drill is going to be so annoying for it. Right? But maybe you just say, hey, I have a Steela for a drill. I don't care. Maybe play the long game that way. It could be the case. And this is Garchomp versus Torn, so the top two Pokemon in Sword and Shield going at it. Interesting. So how's the Chomp looking here? It looks pretty good, honestly. Looks really powerful. And then the Torn on the other side has to deal with Nihilego and Celesteela. It can deal with those, but does it want to? Maybe not. Yeah, you just knock U-turn, play the long game with Torn, because both these guys really hate losing their item. Can you switch in on Nihilego easily? You have an Excadrill. That's like a pretty good switch in. Yeah, Drill looks really nice as like a defensive profile here. Like the Comfy and the Nihilego, both pretty hard-walled. And you're like in sand faster than a Shell Smash Blastoise. Are we winning? We're so winning. So I would probably predict Addison to come out on top in this one. I think the sand is really powerful. So that's what I'm gonna go for.
I think we might be a Dracozolt sweep.
Dracozolt sweep? Oh yeah, dude.
Might be seeing it.
Yep. Unfortunately, both oh, I'm tripping over my words. Ineligible. Is that a big word? They're not eligible for fantasy because they're captains. But now, two players who are eligible, Hunter Z Infected and Tech Froakies. This is going to be Jake. And we see like this cool like Sableye Volcarona team. Volcarona this season in Sun and Moon is only 9 points, which is kind of insane. So several teams picked it up, my team included. We have one. This is the other one. And this is kind of modeled after, if you remember in DPL Season 8, I'll actually bring it up real quick. A Regulator used a team and went like 5-0 with a very similar core right here. So this was Celestial Latios, Mega Sableye, Cloyster, Offensive Fire type. So if you look at it, it's a very similar team, right? Clefable instead of the Comfy, Volcarona instead of the Victini, and both teams actually have a Nidoqueen as well. L5 has predicted 5-0 for the Judgment already, Wishes and Shambles. This is so sad. Why does Cloyster, Clefable, Clothing look so funny to me? They just vibing at the bottom, huh? I don't know. That's kind of on you, bro. And then on the other side, we see this team, which I believe Hacker was saying is like the best Usum team ever. Was he saying about this one? I know it's like a similar team to this, right? Or it's just like color theory, or just color maxing. To be fair, the colors on this team do go kind of crazy, you know?
Do look pretty fire.
Yeah. This is like somewhat similar to a team that we had a few seasons ago, which had Lando, Feeny, and then it had Mega Manectric on there. And it was like a Piloswine instead of Mamoswine, but still like fast Mega, Volt Turn, Feeny for some utility. I think that team also had an Infernape, if I'm not wrong. And that team was actually not very successful, unfortunately. But it did look nice on the page.
Hunter already.
Yeah, we're Preding Hunter. Like, this team is just way too drip. Alright, TDG versus Rai. This is a big matchup, right? Some really good players here. What are we looking at now? Mew Keldeo versus Landity, some like Volturn KB kind of stuff. Oh, if you're looking at these teams like Volturn KB as your big breaker, you have to look at the KB matchup. Can KB consistently force KOs versus team? The answer? No. Scizor, Mew, even like stuff like Manectric can pivot in. Gigalith, the GOAT. Gigalith actually doesn't have sand in Oras, so it's just kind of a silly guy. But these two in particular, they can really slow down that Kyurem Black. Now, can Lando Manectric make up for that? Lando looks pretty good, but again, stopped by a defensive Mew. So I think that Mew is about to go crazy on this team. You have a Nidoqueen for the Manectric, so it's not even free Volts. Yeah, TDG might have this one in the bag, low-key, from a matchup-wise position. I mean, I haven't looked too in-depth on it. The Zam could be a big threat. Like, Life Orb Zam. Maybe you get Pursuit trapped, but before that, it's going to be forcing KOs for sure. You just run, like, Psyshock, Shadow Ball, maybe HP Fire. That does look really strong here. Yeah, we'll just pred TDG because he's the GOAT. And VGC, whatever. I know a lot of people are predding for code VG.
Voted Chi and Pao
code
team.
VG.
Yep.
Yeah, guys, have you considered putting a Dragonite next to Chi and Pao? Let me know.
It's kind of broken.
Let me know. Let me know. Anyways, yeah, we can kind of speed through this a little bit, and it's my own team, so I'm not gonna go super in depth, so that I'm not prepping for my opponents and all that. But that would be kind of raw. My team's winning 8-0. That's all. That's all you need to know. It is always awkward doing Pred streams and you have my own team, because I don't want to give away any of our techs just by yapping about it. And given we're kind of on a time crunch right now, I might just skip over this.
You can just go to Surfers. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you guys understand. Alright, Surfers versus Foxes. I don't know who Code VG is. I had him in my fantasy because I had no budget left and to get a more expensive VG player. So many picked him, so I did too. Crowd theory. Just got here who's winning. Okay, so who do we think are strong picks in the fantasy so far? I think Dougal is kind of a nice shout. Unfortunately, Gorks is a captain, so he doesn't get the upset modifier. but still, the matchup looks really stellar for him. Other than that, I think Lax is also a good pick here, because the matchup does seem pretty strong. So we'll be looking at stuff like that. I know like several of my players are pretty popular picks in the fantasy, like AM22. He's like super cheap in the auction for a really high quality player, and he's playing someone who doesn't really play draft very much. So honestly, AM22 probably going to be my Oris pick in the fantasy. Like, spoiler alert, it's just great value for a good matchup, like player wise. A lot of people also might pick Glop. I think that's probably fair. I see some stuff that I'm definitely interested in picking my own team for, but yeah. Alright, Surfers versus Foxes. Let's take a look at some of these guys. So Finchinator versus Genius X. This is going to be a pretty good matchup here. Two good players. Watch Dougal is going to figure out a way to fumble this insane matchup. No, don't say that. No. Wait, Dawn is in Swish? Is Dawn in Swish? Oh yeah, he is. Who's our Swish player? Toxic, but he's playing SV. I guess Dawn was like, let me at him. Get your glop sack. Well, you can't pick your own team. That's insider trading. How is that insider trading? I don't know if they're gonna win or not. I'm picking before the games happen. I have the same opportunity you guys have. I don't think the matchup is insane one way or the other, but I do feel good about my build. That's all I need to know, Dougal. Alright, I picked Roller K. I also don't know who that is, but I have no budget left, and he was on your team, so I trusted your scouting build support so he can win. Roller K? This guy is so good. I'll be completely honest. Super impressed by him so far. Just in mocks and stuff. In the drafting page, he's like super smart. And also he won back-to-back tournaments in like the Smogon Discord draft tournaments. He won back-to-back. So like, and those are like big tournaments too.
What tournaments were they?
So like, you know, there's a Smogon draft Discord server. There's also just the Smogon server itself with like, you know, different chats for OU and stuff. They ran a few draft tours there, and Roller K won both of them. And both of them were like over 128 players. So good stuff. You should link the DCL doc so people can look at the matchups. I should do that. I'll put that in the description of the stream. One sec. Edit. DCL doc. Bang. Alright, and I have to go back here. Alright. Woo, I will not look for it on the Smogon forums. Yes, yes. Yes, forums bad, unga bunga. Alright. Okay, this is like the goofy triple dragon thing. Alright. Interesting enough. Roaring Goon gets the goob nut off here. You cannot call him Roaring Goon. What? That is not legal. You cannot do that. What? Oh nah, dude. I hope that's not autocorrect. I hope you meant to make that joke. Cause
autocorrect Roaring Goon would be insane.
it would be kind of raw now. Alright, so Torn Ting Lu. Bro, he's gooning on that whole team, dog. You can't say that, man. That's not okay. Guys, if you think Roaring Moon is about to goon all over Finchinator, like the stream. Let's see what we want. Okay. So, alright, Torn here. This is like probably one of the easiest Terra Fairies that you could go for. Just like blanket check all these scary dragon types. Considering your fairy is a Carbink, you probably want to insulate against these guys, considering there's 3 of them and they're all slower and die to Terra Blast. Razzie, do not look that up. I'm being so serious. Don't look it up. Just don't do it. It's really okay. You don't have to. The only problem with Fairy Torn, right, is that big ass Toxapex. But Toxapex, honestly, it's just a free Goldango every time, and Goldango is like really scary for this team. I'm not gonna lie. Yo, Goldango is 6 O's. What? Oh my god. You have to bring like Ninetales for it, right? Maybe like a bulky Roaring Moon, but Dazzling Gleam does exist, and it's a good bring here. Yeah. Yo, Zing is a good player, but Finch is not bad, and he's gonna be able to see these things in the matchup. Okay, he knows. Chat, he knows. Now, Goldango looks super fire here. Like, how do you beat Goldango? Like, you just slot a Culver Berry on there, Nasty Plot, Dazzling Gleam, recover Shadow Ball? Does that not just win?
Bro.
Maybe Ursaluna can wall that if you're not Make It Rain. So maybe you just run dual stab and forego the Dazzling Gleam. And then Roaring Moon is like a little bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Got Recover Plot or both. I think you want Recover Plot, 2 attacks. T-Bolt looks nice. T-Bolt does look nice, but also I think I'd rather be dual stab or Dazzling Gleam, right? Because you don't need the coverage to beat Toxapex Corv. You do that naturally, just with Nasty Plot, Shadow Ball. Gold is the goat of OU. I heard it sucks in draft. I don't know why. It doesn't suck. It's just there's other options available. As like a spin blocker, it's not that good. Because like here, Goldango can't even spin block versus Cyclozar if it just runs like Overheat, Knockoff. Like the combination of those moves is just gonna 2-hit KO Goldango. So you can't really switch in on it.
It loses to like all the spin blockers.
All the spinners, you mean? Yeah, like the elephants, you have to run like Balloon and get predictions right. But in OU, it works because it's a good mon in general. It like does things like check Zama, so it's like useful outside of just spin blocking. But anyways, let's look at this Ogerpon. Damn, dude, Ogerpon wins too. Yeah, Genius is just cooked. I'm pretting Finch all day, every day. And also, Genius didn't SD in front of the Meowscarada in tie breaks, so I hate him, and I'll be hate watching all season. He threw my game, dude. My tie breaks. No, we should have been in finals. Anyways. Alright, Hacker versus Mind Gaming. How expensive was Hacker? Oh, he's like a captain, right?
He's a captain.
So 18k. Yeah. Let's see.
3 of these SV games are captain ones.
Yeah, that's a little bit rough. So Hacker versus Mind Gaming. A Dragonite Ting-Lu Torn kind of thing with a spinner. Alright. But we have Hazard stack into a Court Change guy. Like, that's always an annoying matchup. I swear to god, it's so annoying. Because if you stack, you're just getting stacked on yourself and then spinning another Goldango. So, like, even though you have a Cyclozar which can spin if you, like, predict the gold correctly, it's not free, right? Also, low-key, Terra Ghost Zarude could definitely come here. So maybe you go double spin block. Maybe not, maybe not. It feels like a lot of investment just to, you know, maybe it just end up in a Hazard trade mirror anyways. There's a 6-0, I can't lie, what does he even do? Hell yeah, dude. No multiplier and captain's ruining my Mind Gaming pick, Torn wins. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, you need it into Cobalion probably. Yeah, maybe. Alright, I feel like the Zarude check, what is it even gonna be? Some kind of Torn? Some kind of Cobalion? Maybe like a bulky Encore Ogerpon could be the play into Zarude. I could maybe see that. IDEF Cobalion sits on most Zarudes, no? It does, yeah. So like, Iron Defense Body Press kind of thing? Walled by Goldango, like, really hard, though. But letting Goldango in doesn't really matter too much when you have a Ting-Lu. So, maybe it's not the end of the world. Yeah, I think maybe Cobalion as the Zarude check makes sense, and then on that same thought process, that makes Ghost Zarude a little bit nicer. IDEF Taunt, yeah, could do. Yeah, I kind of like that. What else can Hacker do here? The Garchomp looks really good. Like offensively, Earthquake, Gale Shot just covers everything. Maybe Ting Lu has to take that on, but then like the Ting Lu's getting chipped pretty fast, right? Has to come in on Goldango and Garchomp, and probably Latios as well. So I'll probably need the Torn to defensively take a little bit of heat off of that Ting Lu, right? Do I think Hacker's
Which
gonna
hair
win
would the
this?
Torn be?
Fairy maybe? Beats the
Given the
Chomp
DCL shot?
Zarude-ish? Yeah, because otherwise you have no immunity to Scale Shot. Like, that thing can always just get +1 speed whenever it wants, which is so annoying.
Yeah.
So maybe you have to go Fairy, but then also, like, I don't know, it makes your Goldango problem worse. Makes your Latios problem better, though. So maybe Fairy is just worth it, and then Ting Lu is mostly dedicated to the Goldango at that point. That probably works, to be honest. That probably works. I think Fairy's good, so Lu can check Goldango. Yeah, yeah. I don't know, there's so many threats that Hacker has, but there are answers that exist on Mind Gaming side. Maybe like if you click enough buttons, eventually the walls will fall down. I don't know. I feel like maybe I want to pred Mind Gaming. Maybe. I don't know, because like I feel like Hacker's the better draft player, for sure. So he'll probably find some way to cook. But also, Mind Gaming with the support from like Genius and K-Crick, I feel like that's probably gonna be enough to get over the hump. I'm gonna pred Mind Gaming here. Not like a strong prediction, but if I had to pick one. Alright, K-Crick versus Harris. Interesting one here. This is like the
Super paradox team.
yeah, with the Pincurchin as well. Kind of raw, no?
Oh my god, I didn't see the Pincurchin.
Pincurchin plus T-Bolt Valiant with like booster speed Life Orb. How does he beat that?
GG's.
Oh my god, how does he win?
It's gotta be the Scarf Darkrai.
Maybe that can't switch in though. Maybe Fez and hope it's not like coverage for that.
Psyshock.
Yeah.
Be like AV Fizdef, maybe.
But Fez is just free Iron Crown setup, free Iron Moth.
Yeah.
Like it's so bad into these guys.
Oh my god.
Fez has to check everything here, and it just can't do that. It literally is not even close to doing that. So low key.
K-Crick.
K-Crick
Pincurchin goes crazy.
Okay, let's see. What can Harris do offensively? Does he have anything that like insta 6-0s? Looking at it, no, he doesn't. Maybe like if you can tear the Urshifu to beat Sinistcha, then it becomes a really massive threat. So what would you do to tear to beat Sinistcha and then also not get immediately revenged by the Paradox guys? I don't think there is a type that exists that does all that.
Urshi could be SD Spadef enough to live Matcha and then be weakness false to get +4.
Okay, cool. +4 Jet Punch into Iron Crown. Cool. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Crown's 98.
It's
yeah,
one.
I was thinking they were speed tied,
higher,
and you should to win it.
Isn't Urshifu 97?
Yeah.
And Crown's 98.
I was thinking Crown is 97 too.
Yeah. I think Harris is just cooked. We're pretting K-Crick all day long. Alright, Hedja versus Soggy Doggy Sage. Sage with a Terra Enam, the signature Mon. Terra Fight Crown instantly wins once Corv is slightly chipped. Is that true as well? Oh my god. This guy's cooked?
Kind of, yeah.
He's cooked? It's completely
Yeah,
over,
it's
dude.
over.
Alright, Hedja, Sage. How's the Enam looking? There's a Corviknight, so that forces either Terra Electric or Terra Fire to beat that. Looking at it, probably Terra Electric. Maybe Terra Fire, actually, because you want the Ogerpon resist. I was thinking Terra Electric as like a Raging Bolt kind of resist. You resist Thunderclap a lot easier. Both of them are weak to
Electric's
Lando.
nice for not being weak to Jet either.
Yeah, Samurott.
From Samu.
But the thing is Samurott a bigger threat or is Ogerpon a bigger threat? That Hearthflame doesn't really have switch-ins.
Yeah.
So maybe I'd go like Boots Fire on the Enam. I think that makes a little bit more sense overall, given that Ogerpon is such a big threat. Yeah, because otherwise it just clicks Ivy, man, and you lose. Ivy into follow-up Hornleech just kills everything, no?
Fizdef Belly might be able to swap in and like T-Wave it, maybe.
Maybe. It'll be close, though, and like any amount of chip, you're in range of 2.
Yeah. It would have to be Boots, I'd assume, and then if they can get a knockoff, then it might just get too good after Rocks.
Yeah, and it's also not like you can Static Fish, because Ivy isn't Contact. One crit,
Yeah.
the game ends. So I think that Enam has to be Terrifier. And even then, you don't really hit Ogerpon back very hard. So this Ogerpon is like kind of alpha threat. This is what I've been saying, like non-Terra Hearthflame is basically 90% of a Terra Hearthflame. Because the breakpoints don't really change. It still 2-hit KOs everything. The only thing that changes like raw Okos, which
Yeah.
Terra Hearthflame can totally get. But yeah, it's such a good breaker in the meta right now.
Everything.
Yeah, because all of the fire resists right now, not all of them, but a good majority of fire resists right now are water types. And you just have grass stab.
Yeah.
So it's just GOAT. And you have
Great
play ref
speed,
for
too.
dragons, it's just a really good mon. And there's no dragon on the other side, so yeah, Ogerpon looks really,
there's
really
no
strong.
Terra to like it has a coverage move for all the Terras there is this that stats.
Well, yeah, you could run
She
like
can't
Stomping
dodge
Tantrum or
with
something,
it.
but here it's definitely gonna be just dual stab and what? Swords Dance? Swords Dance Synthesis bulky Ogerpon? Kinda just freaking wins, no?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what actually be super raw? Sub SD. Eevee so that Belly Bolt can't break your sub.
Oh my god.
And then just Hornleech Ivy, you just win, dude. You just win. Gren can't kill you without like Gunk Shot. If you get a sub up, that's the only thing faster that can break your sub. I might have to predict Hedja. This might be the upset victory. And you have Screens Deoxys to support it as well. Yo.
Oh my god.
Screens into Ogerpon? Might be too good, bro. Might be too good. Okay, we can also look at the rest of the team, right? Raging Bolt, how's that looking? Might even force Spadef Belly Bolt with that, so then Ogerpon gets even better? Yo. I feel like this Great Tusk is gonna have to put in insane work, but also there's a Corviknight! There's a Lando, there's like potential for defensive Deoxys speed. No, Hedja has such a good matchup here, what? No, this is crazy though. Is this not crazy? I'm predicting Hedja. I'm sorry, Sage. Look at it though, oh my god.
This is pretty nuts.
Yeah. It's just like what? Helmet Corv. You could even be Screens Corv, honestly, into Ogerpon. Maybe Defog Corv. Yeah, Defog Helmet Corv, I think. Maybe Screens Defensive Deoxys. Raging Bolt. I'm not too sure what set I would be. Maybe Boots with a Terra that's like good into Battle Bond Gren, so you insulate against that. Because you don't have a Scarfer that's faster, really, outside of Deoxys. Which, you don't want to be Scarf Deoxys here. I think Raging Bolt as the Gren stopgap. Ogerpon, bulky sub SD, I think. Just immediately 6 those behind screens. So that would be my win condition. Probably just bring Samurott. Maybe you bring Spiritomb to cover for Great Tusk a little bit nicer. But Spiritomb also kind of allows in the Enam to do its thing. Greninja walls it as well. So I would expect to see a Samurott. Yeah, I think Hedge is gonna win this one. That's kind of crazy. Alright, Theo versus C, Super Epic Ampharos. And this is Theo with the stall build. Kind of similar vibes to the Who matchup earlier.
Round 4 Sableye. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. That's Theo. Spiritomb has Shockwave for Gren. Thank you, Glop. That really makes me feel so much better about it. That's awesome, man. What are we looking at here? Can C break this stall? So what are the options, right? Nasty Plot Torn. Unaware Clef can kind of wall that. Zero Aura as well, just hard checks that. There's just the past Paradox version of Who when you think about it. Or is Who the... Is it Iron Theo? Because that's kind of raw sounding, isn't it?
Iron Theo.
Yeah. Nidoking is like somewhat of a threat, but like Mew can check that with like outspeed Nidoking, rest in Spadef. Also a good set into Keldeo, which, you know, has to deal with Toxapex and Clefable. Yeah. Maybe you could be like Calm Mind Taunt on Keldeo. That could 1v1 Toxapex for sure. But then that's probably losing to Unaware Clefable 1v1. Also, there's the problem of Encore Sableye. And also Mew probably 1v1s that as well. Can Dragonite do anything? Unaware Clef, Corviknight, Toxapex is probably a bit too much to ask for out of a Dragonite. Can Metagross do anything? No. Toxapex, Corviknight. I think Theo has the tools to win this one. I don't see anything that immediately just wins. And usually, versus Theo's teams, you need like several Pokemon that just win on its own. Because he'll find like defensive resources to deal with like 1 or 2 things. You need like 3 things that have very little counterplay. Here, I don't see anything. I'm going to pred Theo. I feel pretty confident in this pick. Trick Iron Ball Metagross, the Corviknight, then Nidoking farms. You still have a Mew, right? And it's not like you have to go Corviknight on Metagross. Yeah, you kind of do. Maybe you can scout with Toxapex once, but yeah. Mega Horn that bit. Yeah, okay, buddy. I think Theo has the tools.
Yo, Glock
for
is
sure.
cooking.
He is cooking. He is. But also,
He may be burning the kitchen, but he's cooking.
This is cooking that also doesn't even seem that great, you know? Like, sure, it's probably the best that C can hope for. Still doesn't look very good, you know? Alright, moving on though. iPro versus Undead. This is a cool matchup. Good players all around. Alright, Chomp Kartana. Like... And then like some Volt Turn action, Uxie Manectric to bring those guys in. So how good is Garchomp Kartana? Kartana has to deal with the Torn. And that's pretty much it, to be honest. We see a Mega Sableye to prevent rocks. So Uxie has to run like Skill Swap. Does it get that? Does Uxie get Skill Swap? I feel like it does. Like, surely it does, right? I'm pretty sure Azelf and Mesprit get it. So I don't see why Uxie wouldn't. Maybe skill swap rocks, because once you get rocks up, the removal is Defog Torn, and that's kind of shit.
It does get skill swap, yeah.
I guess Defog Klefki exists as well. But yeah, skill swap Uxie maybe is worth it. I mean, you're going to take a knock the next turn in exchange for those rocks going up. But that's probably fine, right? Fine trade. You could also go rocks on like Z-Chomp. Force out the Sableye with the threat of Z. Probably going to go Slowbro on you. And then you just get the rocks up there. Those could be the options, right? Does skill swap work on Mega Sableye? Yes, it does.
It does, because Magic Bounce will bounce back the skill swap on the Uxie. And then still trades.
So can Torn do something here? There's a Mega Manectric but that's not the bulkiest thing in the whole world. I guess Alolan Muck is like good enough, where the Torn has to spend a lot of time knocking off the berry, and then Mega Metric also has room to pivot in. Probably have enough things for the Torn. The Kyurem Black. You have a Victini to come in on ice moves, but Dragon Stab is looking pretty scary to switch into. Like, I would probably expect to see like a Z Outrage on the Kyurem if it was Z, or like Scarf Kyurem. That's also like a pretty viable win condition here. So Kyurem looks really nice. It's probably Undead's best Pokemon here, just looking at it first glance. Yeah, because Nidoqueen has to deal with Uxie, even like an 80 Blastoise, which could exist. I don't know, this Slowbro is looking kind of nice. Like, Slowbro Torn, the Regen Core looks really annoying to break. Like, you have to Fusion Bolt it on the switch with Victini. You pack Ice Beam for Garchomp. You could be Rindoberry, just try to lure the Kartana with your Slowbro, but also, maybe not. Maybe you just run like leftovers or something, maybe that's more consistent. Good Uxie skill swaps to save Light Mega. How does Great Tusk break it? I think
Red carded out.
Yeah, there's no Great Tusk, man. It's Sun and Moon. It's okay though. I get it. Yeah, I think iPro probably has a little bit of an advantage. Is that true? I'm just saying that to say it, to be honest. Just say it and fact check afterwards. If he can keep rocks up, I think he'll win. Can he keep rocks up? Who knows? Undead has aura advantage, you forgot that. He does. iPro is also like found dead in the ditches after DPL Season 9. Shot dead on the streets of Seoul. So maybe Undead has like a little bit of a matchup, because I think the Mons matchup is kind of 50-50, but Undead has been kind of like popping off recently. I don't know. We could Pred Undead. I think that's fun. Let's do that. Alright, and then Averforth versus Mayo. So the two dinosaurs playing in Oras, as expected. Alright, do you think the Stegosaurus is gonna win, or the Tyrannosaurus Rex? It's a Mega Aerodactyl mirror, which is interesting. Don't see that every day.
It's pretty crazy.
Okay, low key. Look at this Conch Elder. Bulk up Drain Punch. How you beat that?
Good
Bulk
question.
up Drain Punch, Ice Punch. That's all you need. The last move could be Protect Lefties. Who cares? Could be Rest Chesto. Could be a lot of things. Okay, Conch looks great. Mew also looks great. There's no Dark type, so Psychic is really free. There's a Lax as your Dark type, but that can get like knocked off by Crook, Helmeted down, Taunted, Conch Elder free entry point. Like, Lax is kind of a liability in this game, because Conch just comes in and it's really annoying. Maybe you have to be like Helmet Chomp to like chip down the Conch. That could be reasonable. Maybe Hypno has to come. Hypno is like reasonable into Mew Conch a little bit. I don't know, man. It's just a Hypno. It's just a little guy. I don't know. Serp. Let's see. Look at Serp. Serp's like not fantastic, right? Roselia exists. Several things faster if you're not Scarf.
Scarf. Mega Arrow.
Okay, by several things, I just mean the arrow. It's the only thing that's faster. Okay, so fact check. Wrong. But
Hey,
yeah.
don't forget Seismitoad in the rain.
True, true. Seismitoad, a known superior counter. So would you run Scarf Serp here and try to lure the Scarm in? Lure the Roselia? I don't know. Maybe you just knock them off. Knockoff Serp could be the play. Maybe Knock Glare kind of set. That could be useful. And then Leaf Storm HP Fire. That could be kind of raw. Alright, let's look at the other side though. So Garchomp. Looking kind of scary. Something like a SD Life Orb set does just kill everything, no? Outspeeds most of the team. Only outsped by Arrow and Serp. +2 Life Orb is gonna completely smash defensive Mew. Smash defensive Crocodile. And there's no Fairy, so Outrage is like Giga Free. Alright, so Garchomp is like probably the alpha threat. So we get Infernape. Also looks really fantastic. What? CC is really hard to swap into. It's only really Mew that wants to come in, and that can get followed up by Overheat. So low-key, I kind of want to see SD Life Orb Chomp and like mixed Life Orb Infernape, or just like SD Life Orb Infernape. Because like Mach Punch is going to do a big damage to Arrow and Serp. If you can chip them down, has a chance to just win the game. Shout out support Serp. You're in the call, man. You could just say
no, I was trying to babble in chat.
Okay, dude.
I was letting you talk about your Life Orb SD Garchomp, responding to him.
Yeah. So it looks like the offense from either side is pretty strong. Maybe Garchomp Infernape has an edge over Abe's offense. Because Conk is like really slow and can get like, you know, death by 1,000 cuts kind of thing. Where Infernape, if it gets going with an SD, I mean, your options are pretty limited.
Yeah.
At least the Arrow is able to revenge both of them with Ice Fang, Aerial Ace. But there's a Skarm. So how much value is Arrow really getting? So probably gonna be like Taunt Arrow then. Trying to taunt the Skarm. Then like Stone Edge last. So taunt 3 attacks. I could see that. You know what? I actually have to leave in about 10 minutes. So let's do my own fantasy submission. Who do I think is gonna win, Abe or Mayo? I'll give it to Mayo. I think that Garchomp Infernape matchup is really strong. And Conk is really, really great here. If Abe wins, it's gonna be through the Conk, I think. But yeah, I do like the Chomp Infernape matchup quite a lot. Do I believe what I'm saying here? Do I think Aberforth is gonna lose? Not really. I'll be honest. I was saying I'm predicting Mayo, but I'm looking at how does Abe lose? He just doesn't do that, right? He's like allergic to losing. So maybe the Conk is just enough. Who's to say?
I think it's pretty 50-50.
Yeah. Whatever, I'll stick with it. Predicting Mayo, whatever. Then let's do my submission for the fantasy. Alright. So open up my form. And I just doxed myself. Nice. You can email me who you want. I don't care.
They'll be able to see it on the doc anyway. It'll say created by blank.
Yeah, whatever, dude. SV slot. I think Dougal is a really valuable pick, being that he's not very expensive, and like you need that kind of thing. I think his matchup's great. I have faith in him. Let me open the fantasy doc in another, like on my other monitor. Actually, I should have like a notepad out.
Get that phone calculator going.
Yeah. Open up my calculator. So Dougal is going to be how expensive? 3K.
I think Dougal's 3.
He's a min bid. So 70k. I now
big value.
I now have 67k. All right. Now looking at the doc, who's my expensive guy that I think is gonna win? I think Theo is definitely up there as an option. I think his matchup is fantastic. Um, who else did I think was a really strong matchup? Lax is another high ticket item that I think could definitely be a pretty consistent pick here. I think TDG as well, but he's like super expensive, 22k, probably not worth it in this setting.
Alright, good luck with your Preds. I actually have to head out too now. It's perfect timing.
Yeah. I'll finish this up and then I'll end stream.
Yep.
Can I fit Lax and Theo? Because Theo's super expensive though. He's like 20k or something, 19k. But I have some cheap options other than that, so maybe it's worth it. Theo, alright, Theo's the switch slot. HJK. And then if I pred Lax. Alright, let's see. How expensive is Lax? 18k. So minus 18, and then Theo is 20.5. So I have 28.5k for the rest of these. I'm going to pred my own teammate, Roller K. I think he's epic. And he's also like 3k. So that's another 3k. Now I have 25.5k. We both docked ourselves to the stream. It can happen, it's all good. So I think Roller K is a good pickup here. I need one more SV. Who do I want in SV? Let's see. I thought Sean had a good matchup. How expensive was Sean? 5k? I might have to do that. Was there anything else? Finchinator. How expensive was Finch? 10k? And he's playing against Genius, which like Genius might be able to find a way. I could do a punt on Hedja, because Hedja gets the bonus, right, of being the like upset victory, and his matchup is fantastic. I'm actually gonna pred Hedja for sure, actually. Yeah. Hedja, get eligible for those double points on the upset prediction, because there's a 10k difference between the two of them. Yeah, I definitely go Hedja here. Alright, so Hedja was 5k, so I subtract 5. Now I have 20.5k for Usum, Oras, and VGC. Alright, so who's my Sun and Moon slot? And if I remember correctly, there's not a whole lot of options that are cheap here. A lot of the Usum players went for quite a lot of money. Maybe you go for Hunter Z Infected, because his team is like super aura. And he was like only 9k, so maybe that's worth it. You could also go for Tidal. I think Tidal would be a good shout. You also have the upset victory modifier chance, and I think the matchup was like somewhat strong, somewhat on the 50-50 side, but also I think Tidal's a good player. Could definitely beat II here. Am I willing to take that as a punt? I think Aster is a captain. I can't pred him, and I don't want to pred against my teammate. Hello. Undead is probably too expensive here, and I don't have a big feeling on that matchup either way. I think I'll put Tidal. Put Tidal in my fantasy, and Tidal was 7.5k, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna double check that. Yeah, 7.5. It means I have 13k for VGC plus Oras. Now, AM22 is just the obvious Oras choice. Is there any other Oras matchup that I felt really strong about? Not really, right? So I think I'm just gonna go AM22. It's like the safe play, where it's like cheap, and also his opponent doesn't really play draft like that. And also, I know his... I've been helping him prep. I think his team is pretty strong. Hard to beat for sure. So I'm gonna put AM22 for my Oras. And that's gonna be 5k, right? Yeah, 5,000 credits. And now I have 8k. I'm just gonna find a VGC player that's under 8k and call it good. Let's see. My own VGC player is 6k, so I could just pred my teammate if I wanted to. But he's playing against Hopeless, who is a past teammate of mine, and I think he's very good. I haven't actually looked at any of the VGC mocks, because LOL. Null Idol. Code VG was a popular pick. How expensive is he? 3k. That's probably why he was a popular pick. I'll probably just pred my teammate, to be honest. Lindworm. So I'm predicting 4 of my teammates actually. Right? No, 3. Roller K and the ORS VGC. Alright. Is Roller eligible for the multiplier as well? No, he's playing Habita, who's a captain. So that doesn't count. But I have two opportunities, like Hedja and Tidal, to get double points. I have Theo, who I think is a strong matchup. Lax, I think, is a strong matchup. Both of them great players. Dougal, I thought, was a strong matchup. And then Hedja's like good matchup and bonus modifier. Alright, we're cooking here. We're cooking. VGC Island becoming a penal colony. My bad, bro. So who's my lock pick? Who do I think is gonna win? I could pick one of the upset victories, and then if they do win, I get 4 points, or like quadruple points. That could be the move. Or I could just predict Lax, who I think is a strong matchup, strong player. I really trust him to win this week. Lindworm. I'm never locking a VGC slot, sadly. That might be derogatory, but it is what it is. I could lock Theo. I feel like his matchup is super strong, and I know he's really strong in that playstyle. Who does Theo play again? Plays against C. C's a very creative player, so maybe the upset chance is higher than the Lax one. You gotta believe in Robin. I do believe in him. I picked him. You locked AM22? Yeah. Lax versus Sablo. I mean, the things that could go wrong in this matchup is like Iron Moth, like Dazzling Gleams, the Roaring Moon on the Switch, and then like you're kind of cooked from that point. Are you even cooked though? It's probably not even that bad, to be honest. You locked C for quadruple points? That's kind of raw. Yeah, the quadruple points is like super tempting, to be honest. On like on the Hedja versus Sage, because this matchup feels so impossible for Sage. But also Sage is like so good, she might find a way. It's a tough call. I think I'm gonna go the safe option and lock Theo. Just because I have such high faith in that matchup and him as a player. Alright. We're locking it in. And that's my submission. Guys, if you want to see if you can beat my submission or just copy it player for player, I don't care. You can go ahead and do that. Links are on the description. Just make sure it's under a 70k budget. Mine ended up being 68k overall. But yeah, this is going to be super fun. And if anyone's over budget, it'll tell us on the doc. So don't worry too much about being over budget. We'll catch it if it is. I'll let you know. But yeah, that's gonna be epic. Alright. For the doc, we'll probably be adding a little bit of functionality where you don't have to do the math yourself for week 2. But for now, we can just use a calculator to do making sure it adds up to 70k. And that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I think the next stream is going to be on Saturday when we're doing the DFL auction stream. So that's going to be at noon PST. Don't miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of cool players in DFL. Looking forward to that.